Hello everyone, this is Goosebumps Godzilla, and today I'm going to be talking about the real ghost of the 32nd Goosebumps book, The Barking Ghost. So viewer beware, you're in for a scare, and let's get started with this video. Okay, so before I go any further, I just want to say that there are going to be spoilers for the 32nd Goosebumps book, The Barking Ghost, and also some minor spoilers, I would say, for when the ghost dog howls. I'm not really going to be going into the main plot of the book or anything like that. I'm just going to be talking about the origin story to the blue Kirkloo hound in Where the Ghost Dog Howls, which is the main antagonist of the book. So if you've not read these two, then I just want to tell you that there are going to be spoilers. Not that much for Where the Ghost Dog Howls, but basically a large majority of the Barking Ghost. But anyway, guys, let's get into this theory. So in the Barking Ghost, we are introduced to our main protagonist, whose name is, I think, Cooper Holmes. And so he moves into this new house, which is in the middle of the woodlands in Maine. And, the usual stuff of him being upset that they're moving. And so basically his character is that he's afraid of everything. But anyway, while he's there, he's constantly being stalked by these ghost dogs, you could say, that just keep appearing out of nowhere. They're just stalking him, creating some really terrifying scenes, I would say. And anyway, so all while this is going on, main protagonist makes friends with one of his neighbors that live there. There's not many people in the place that he lives at since it's a woodland. So, he hangs out with her. I think her name's Fergie or something like that for most of the book. And so, again, they're being stalked by the dogs. And so, closer to the end of the book, the dogs lead them to this cabin. And so, main protagonist and the main protagonist's friend go in there, and it turns out it's like a body swapping room. So, they swap bodies with the dogs, and so they themselves become the dogs. And the dogs basically take over the main protagonist and main protagonist's friend's human form. And so, turns out that the ghost dogs that we see in this book used to be real life people, but then they were cursed or something like that and were transformed into dogs, cursed to, travel the woodland forever or something like that. And so their main goal was to body swap with someone, so they came up on the opportunity to body swap with the main protagonist and main protagonist's friend, and so now they're in their human form. But a whole lot of stuff goes on after that. Not that much, since it's closer to the climax, but the main protagonist and the main protagonist's friend try to prove to main protagonist's parents that they're human and those are imposters, but that doesn't really turn out too well. So anyways, they, one way or another, I can't really remember how, but they basically lead the ghost dogs back to the shrinking room or something, where they switch bodies. But then, in a shocking twist, the main protagonist and main protagonist's friend turn into chipmunks, and it was sort of a goofy ending, but overall the book's pretty good. It's not that memorable, I would say. It's just, in there, but I'm going to try to reread this. I haven't read this one in a little while, so I'm going to try to reread this. Maybe it'll turn out like Go Eat Worms. I used to think Go Eat Worms is just, an okay book that ran with the mix. The second time I read it, I really thought it was a really, really excellent book. But anyway, so the main theory I have today is that the two ghost dogs that you see in this book aren't actually ghosts, and there's a true ghost dog in this book, and that is the blue Kirkloo hound from Where the Ghost Dog Howls. So, first off, I need to prove that the dogs that we see in this book aren't really ghost dogs. And so, you can easily see this, first off, with the fact of the body swapping sort of thing. So, in the book, the dogs went through objects and, did all that ghost stuff, floating. I don't remember if they actually floated, but I know they did go through objects. At least I'm 100%. I wouldn't say I'm 100%, but I'm incredibly sure that they went through objects and stuff like that. Did all that ghost stuff. So, it kind of seems likely that they are ghosts, but then again, when you take a closer look, it kind of seems different because of the body swapping scene. So, if their form of dogs was a source of their ghost powers or something, then how come the main protagonist's friend, didn't really have that? I do not remember them in the book having that power of going through objects. And then we have the main antagonists in their human form. They also could not go through objects. So what exactly gives them the power to go through objects if in the ghost dog form they don't get it, and when they're in the main protagonist friend's form, they can't go through objects. So it's kind of strange, like, how can they go through objects if, they themselves, can't go through, you know what I mean? So it kind of seems like they're not ghosts because it always changes if they can go through objects or not. Also, further evidence is the whole point of the ghost. So according to the book, I believe, these guys were cursed into becoming dogs. So, in their ghost form, though, shouldn't their souls be human? So, ghosts are not in a physical body. Ghosts are in, let's just say, their spirit form. And so, first off, the fact that they were able to body swap and ghosts do not really have a body just doesn't make sense. And also the fact that, so the ghost is, I would say, a restless spirit. No, what's a good wage for a ghost? Like, they have unfinished business, that's the thing. So, there's spirits and souls and stuff like that looking for unfinished business. So, why would they take on the dog form? First off, how could they body swap it? Because, they're ghosts, and ghosts don't really have a true body. And second off, how come they're not human when they're ghosts? Because ghosts take on the appearance of their soul, you know what I mean. So it just doesn't make sense about that. And also, there's the fact of the cover art. On the cover art, we do not see the dogs that we see in the book. First off, there's only one. And second off, the hair color's all off. In the Barking Ghost, the dogs that we encounter in the book have black hair. But in the Barking Ghost cover art, we see, more of a white hair colored dog, ish blue, close to blue and white, kind of mixed. It's not black. So how do we explain this? And so, also, why is the title called The Barking Ghost? We've pretty much proven that these guys aren't ghosts. So, why is the title called The Barking Ghost? Who's the real ghost in this book? And so, my theory is that it is the blue Kirkloo hound from When the Ghost Dog Howls. First off, on the cover art, while they do look sort of different, they are the same in color and all that stuff. And so, they both look similar on the cover art. Also, another plus is that Blue Kirkloo Hound actually is a ghost. While that is not huge evidence, that'll totally make this one real, this one's actually a ghost, and the ones that we see in the book aren't. So, it makes more sense than the barking ghost of the book being the ones that are actually inside the book, if you know what I mean. And so, also, further evidence for this is from, what's it called? How the dogs are able to go through objects. Because in the book, as I said before, they go through objects, but they're not ghosts because of all that body swapping stuff and all that stuff. It pretty much proved that these guys aren't ghosts. So, how could they go through objects? Well, I think this kind of proves that something beforehand happened here, because it had to be in their forms before they turned into dogs, or it was a tribute given to them, and they could only use it at certain times, if you know what I mean. Like, they got this power from a supernatural source and could only keep it maybe in their true form, which originally was their human form before they turned dogs, or something like that, but only they could harness the power. I don't know, it's kind of confusing how I worded that, but you know what I mean. And so, I think it would only make sense for this to be possible if they have the wishing fang from When the Ghost Dog Howls. So, in When the Ghost Dog Howls, basically the origins for the Blue Kirkaloo Hound is that it basically came to this town in Scotland, it brought bad luck, and so, you know, anyway, they sent this wizard. The wizard tried to kill the dog, but the dog couldn't die. But he did take out one of its tooths, and one of the tooths, is that correct wording? I'm not really sure, but basically the tooth is a wishing tooth, and so you could wish for whatever you wanted. But it turns out that is actually a beacon for the ghost dog to come there and take back his tooth and kill the owner of it, as that is what happened to the wizard in When the Ghost Dog Howls. So I think that the barking ghost people, before they actually turned into dogs, originally human, they got the the wishing tooth, and so they wished they could go through objects and stuff like that. And so they were granted that wish, but that itself served as a beacon to the ghost dog from Where the Ghost Dog Howls, the Blue Kirkaloo Hound. And so he goes over to there, and he, instead of killing them, I think, took back the tooth and turned them into dogs as sort of like a curse. Because, you know, and also he did get back the tooth, because we can see this in the cover art. It shares similar design, but he does have a tooth. That's the difference. But I think he got the tooth from the two dogs. And so we can kind of see evidence of his presence in these woods also from the twist ending. While it's not like super huge evidence, you can see that the main protagonist and the main protagonist's friends seem very unlucky. First off, because, you know, they're stalked by dogs, but they can't really help that, so it's not evidence. But in the twist ending, it just so happened that two chipmunks were in that cabin. Not during the time when they switched places with the dogs and the human, but just at that sudden moment there was two chipmunks, which just seems like bad luck overall. And the ghost dog from When the Ghost Dog Howls brings bad luck with it, so it kind of makes sense. I mean, it's not revolutionary evidence or anything, but you know, it does make sense. Well, anyway guys, that's the end of my theory. I hope you enjoyed, and tell me what you guys think in the comments section below. Do you think that it's the Blue Kirkaloo Hound from When the Ghost Dog Howls, and he's the cause of all the events in the Barking Ghost? Or do you think it could possibly be being similar to the Blue Kirkaloo Hound? Or do you think it's the actual ghost dogs that we see in the Barking Ghost that I don't really believe are actually ghosts? But tell me what you guys think in the comments section below. And, is it just me or my videos getting longer? I don't know, I keep noticing that. But anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed, and that is the end of my video.